How long does it take to write a screenplay? Let's go through a couple of chapters. We're going to talk about milestone time frames, what impacts the time needed for a screenplay, and then we'll talk about 4 real-world examples and what the phases of screenplay development are. Let's start with milestone time frames. The first draft. Experienced writers will typically knock out in 1 to 3 months. First-time writers will usually take 3 to 6 months. Experienced writers tend to have better approaches to outlining and can translate them into a first draft more quickly. The second big step is revisions and polishing. Experienced writers will typically do that in 2 to 4 months. Novices will take 4 to 8 months or potentially longer, depending on how much work the screenplay needs. Revisions can take a significant amount of time. Rookie mistakes made by a new writer are paid for here by more time. It involves feedback, rewriting, and refinements. So let's talk about what impacts the time needed for a screenplay. One of those things is experience and skill level. Experienced writers tend to write faster out of familiarity with the process and the formatting, while novices are learning those processes and formatting standards. The story complexity also has an impact. Simple stories with straightforward plots and fewer characters and settings get out on the page pretty quickly. It also cuts down on the number of technical and formatting elements in the script. Fewer scenes means fewer scene descriptions. Complex plots, more characters, and big world building all add to the level of details needed to be tracked and honored by the writing. For the preparation and outlining step, detailed outlines allow a writer to just fill in the blanks, while an alternative is discovery writing, which can speed the process up. You effectively just write the story as you write the story and discover it in real time. An approach like that fights overthinking and gets you your first draft really quickly, which is then easier, in my opinion, to edit than it is to create. Something that also impacts how long it takes to write a screenplay is the writer's schedule. Full-time writers have a huge advantage because they aren't balancing writing and work, because writing is their work. If you're not a full-time writer, if it's a part-time job, you're going to get part-time results at part-time speed. The degree of feedback and revisions you receive can have a huge impact on how long it takes to write your screenplay. More stakeholders mean that there are more rounds of feedback and frequently more drafts. Peers, mentors, producers, investors, hired consultants, all of them will give you feedback. And if you are a novice screenwriter, you should definitely expect more feedback than if you have experience, but the feedback never goes away. Even the best in the world get feedback. Here are 4 real-world examples of screenplays and how long they took to write. Quentin Tarantino took about 3 months for the first draft of Pulp Fiction. Aaron Sorkin, my personal favorite, wrote the first draft of The Social Network in 4 to 6 months. For Juno, Diablo Cody took about 2 months to write her first draft. And James Cameron was notorious for taking years to develop and write Avatar, which started as an 80-page treatment in 1994 and didn't enter production until 2007, which implies script tweaks were happening for more than a decade. Let's talk about the different phases in screenplay development. There is concept development, which is the brainstorming, the researching, and the core idea development. There is the outlining, which is where you create a detailed outline or treatment and develop character arcs, plot major events. Then there is the first draft, which is where you're getting that screenplay out on the page based on the outline, focusing on getting the full story out. Then you go over to revisions and polishing. You revise based on any feedback you have. You improve the dialogue, you tighten up scenes, and you fix plot holes and continuity issues before you move on to the final draft, which is where you're making final touches, fixing formatting issues, and preparing for either a screenplay competition, agent submissions, or for the film to move into production. What was your fastest time from a blank sheet of paper to a completed screenplay? Or what's the longest amount of time from start to finish that it's taken you to write something? Has it gotten easier for you as you've written more and more? Writing a screenplay can take anywhere from a few months to several years, depending on the writer's experience, the complexity of the story, and the writing process. While experienced writers with clear outlines can complete a first draft relatively quickly, revisions and polishing often take additional time to ensure the screenplay is of high quality. Hi, I'm Ben Garves, an award-winning filmmaker and screenwriter, and I publish these daily insights into the film industry. Guess who wrote this CTA though? Hint, it wasn't me, it was ChatGPT, so you know who to blame if the joke I'm about to tell you is Terrible, but here goes nothing. If this was a movie, hitting like and subscribe would be your character arc. Complete it. I like that. That's the first one. That is the first one that I've liked.